Mm, hmm. Led Zeppelin, punk, violence. Rod Stewart, permissiveness, Madonna, sex. This is a list of groups and singers banned in the USSR. The communists were convinced that music, fashion, films, and in general the entire mass culture and counterculture from the West were weapons of the Cold War, no less dangerous than bombs. Therefore, the records of most popular rock bands and pop singers were not released or sold legally in the Soviet Union. Those musicians didn't come to the country with concerts. The newspapers wrote only bad things about them. There are several known variants of this list, with slight differences dating from 1983-1985. They were found in the archives by different people, not me, and published. We don't know who compiled this list, but most likely it was not the KGB. The document was sent to local Komsomol committees and cultural institutions. The main purpose of this list was to prevent the songs of harmful groups from being played at disco and spoiling Soviet youth. So I will tell you what Western musicians were forbidden in the USSR and how that forbiddance was explained. This version of the list was signed in 1983 and was intended for the directors of houses of culture, discos, rural clubs in the Tula region of Russia. In order to strengthen the fight against the influence of bourgeois ideology, we recommend that you prohibit the playing and demonstration of gramophone records, compact cassettes, videos, books, posters and other products reflecting the activities of the following groups, whose repertoire contains ideologically and morally harmful works. We are sending an approximate list of groups. It is indicated in parentheses which alien ideas and trends the group promotes. And the first were Iron Maiden, banned for propaganda of violence and religious obscurantism in their songs. AC/DC, violence, neo-fascism. What about neo-fascism? Maybe it was the song Night of the Long Knives, released by the Australians in 1981. By the way, the popular myth that the name of the group means Antichrist, Death to Christ, or Antichrist, Devil's Child, was also popular in the USSR. Black Sabbath, again, violence, religious obscurantism. Van Halen. Here is written exactly like this, Van Halen, but certainly the author meant Van Halen. Anti-communism. Blessed memory of Eddie Van Halen, who died this year. Blondie, punk, violence. The B-52s, the same, punk, violence. Village People, homosexuality. Everything is obvious. The band was created with the expectation of popularity among the gay audience, and the image of its members was appropriate. One of the Village People's biggest hits, YMCA, has become a gay anthem. I would like to remind you that homosexual relationships were considered a crime in the USSR. Judas Priest. Maybe you thought it was homosexuality again, as in the previous case. The band leader, Rob Halford, is possibly the most famous gay in rock music. But no, it was racism. Why? No idea. Donna Summer, eroticism. Kiss, neo-fascism, punk, violence. Here I want to note that, as in the case of AC/DC, there were rumors about the hidden meaning of the group's name, including that it stands for Kinder SS, SS children. And it is possible that Kiss were named by neo-fascists for this reason. Let's pause for a while. If you enjoy this episode, you can support the KGB Files project by becoming its patron. A link to our Patreon page below this video. We are grateful to the viewers who have already become our patrons, Maxim Ksenjak and Tadeusz Karwowski. If you are not yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. And don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss our next episode. Let's continue. Madness, punk, strong personality cult. Nazareth, religious mysticism, sadism. The originals, sex. Pink Floyd, a perversion of the USSR foreign policy. Another similar list, created in Nikolaev or Mykolaiv in 1985, contains a clarification of this charge. First, only Pink Floyd's 1983 album The Final Cut was banned. Secondly, we see an explanation of what exactly this perversion consisted of. Soviet aggression in Afghanistan. It's about a short song, Get Your Filthy Hands Off My Desert, which contains the next line, Brezhnev took Afghanistan. Sex Pistols, punk, violence. Scorpion, this is of course the Scorpions. Violence. Styx, violence, vandalism. Time Machine, probably Time Machine, anti-Soviet. I have never heard of such a group. If you know it, write your comments. Tina Turner, sex, 10cc, neo-fascism. As in many other cases, it is impossible to understand what neo-fascism has to do with it. It seems that the list maker had to stick this label to a dozen groups and did it in random order. Try to guess who will be next accused of neo-fascism. You will be surprised. UFO, violence. The Who, vandalism, sadism, violence. Rolling Stones, violence, permissiveness. Talking Heads, the myth of the Soviet threat. Chinggis Khan, anti-communism, nationalism. Obviously, the matter is in the main hit of this West German group, Moscow. The lyrics are completely harmless and full of cliches about Russia. But Soviet young people who danced to Chinggis Khan at discos told each other that the chorus was translated from German as Moscow, Moscow, we will throw bombs, we will dance on the ruins of the Kremlin. And they sang along these lines in Russian. There were several other options, including Moscow, Moscow, we didn't break in 1941, we break in 1980, or Chinggis Khan didn't take Moscow, Hitler didn't take Moscow, but we will. The promise to spoil the Olympics is contained in yet another version of the translation. The fact is that the song was released in 1979, shortly before the Olympics in Moscow, which, as we remember, was boycotted by Western countries. And although all these rumors were nonsense, the compilers of the list of non-recommended groups apparently took them seriously. The KGB also notes in its documents that some songs of the Chinggis Khan group have a pro-fascist, anti-Soviet character. Moreover, there is unconfirmed information that the song Moscow was bought for showing on the USSR Central Television in 1980, but wasn't shown precisely because of rumors around its content. Culture Club, homosexuality, apolitical, anti-culture. Depeche Mode, apolitical. Michael Jackson, homosexuality and horror. When it comes to horror, Michael Jackson's hit Thriller from the 1982 album of the same name comes to mind. We certainly remember the legendary music video for this song as well, but it was released in late 1983, later than the list was signed. Julio Iglesias, the Spanish singer number one, was banned for moral licentiousness and neo-fascism. Alice Cooper, necrophilia. Rod Stewart, propaganda of violence, permissiveness. Clash, punk, violence. Crocus, strong personality cult, sadism. Stranglers, punk, violence. Perhaps you have a question: how could the Soviet youth hear Western music when the Iron Curtain existed? For example, thanks to Western radio stations. Thousands of music lovers listened to the program dedicated to rock music by the radio presenter of the BBC Russian service, Sevan Novgorodtsov. There was a vinyl black market in every major city. The records were brought primarily from Eastern European states such as Poland and Yugoslavia. There they were sold legally. African students flew to the USSR through Western Europe, and many of them, making a transplant somewhere in Paris, didn't forget to buy a new album by Deep Purple or Queen, so that later they would sell several times more expensive. The lucky owner of the vinyl could rewrite a copy on magnetic tape, and so the enemy music conquered the country. The police, the KGB and the Komsomol tried to fight this, but to no avail. By the way, witnesses often recalled that Komsomol members read public lectures about the dangers of Western music, but they themselves secretly listened to these recordings. We go back to the list. Madonna, sex. Cannot hit, homosexuality. Ottawa, anti-communism. Prince, pornography, political apathy, propaganda of nuclear war. War is all around us. My mind says prepare to fight. So if I gotta die, I'm gonna listen to my body tonight. Everybody's got a bump. We could all die any day, oh. Mommy, why does everybody have a bump? These are lines from Prince's hit 1999, released in 1982. But this is not propaganda of nuclear war, but on the contrary, a protest against the proliferation of nuclear weapons. But the Soviet specialists apparently didn't understand this. U2, militarism. Kraftwerk, violence, punk. As you probably already understood, not all the bands marked with the word punk were related to this style in reality. Manish Machine, eroticism, pornography. This is another unknown group. Nina Hagen, sadism, licentiousness. Stooges, domestic decay, punk, violence. Led Zeppelin, punk, violence. Led Zeppelin certainly had nothing to do with punk rock, unless their 1978 song Wearing and Tearing was performed in a style quite close to punk rock. According to music critics, the band sought to show that it could play with the same energy and aggressiveness as the punks who were at the top of popularity at the time. Duran Duran, apolitical. Ramones, punk. Santa Esmeralda, eroticism, sex. Yazoo, punk, violence. Danich Mod. I think this is nothing more than the Depeche Mode mentioned for the second time in this document. Punk, apolitical. Passengers, vandalism, permissiveness. These lists appeared during the reign of Yuri Andropov and Konstantin Chernenko. The last wave of intense struggle with Western culture came in these years. But after that, perestroika began and state stopped fighting harmful music. The records of many of the bands on the list were officially released by the Soviet company Melodia. Violence propagandists, Scorpions, and former vocalists of religious obscurities Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, visited the USSR in 1989, performing at the Moscow Music Peace Festival. The Scorpions even met the leader of the country, Mikhail Gorbachev. Brezhnev took Afghanistan, as we remember from the Pink Floyd song, and Gorbachev withdrew the troops from this country in early 1989. And 6 months after that, Pink Floyd performed in Moscow. Nazareth, these sadists, arranged 2 tours in the USSR in 1990 and 1991. Both were sold out. Neo-fascists from AC/DC became the headliners of the legendary Monsters of Rock festival in Moscow in September 1991, which gathered, according to various estimates, from 500,000 to 1.5 million listeners. 2 months after that, the USSR died and the rock and roll continued to live.